Imagine your application, a sprawling, tangled mess of code, barely held together with duct tape and late-night caffeine. That was the reality for developers trying to scale before Kubernetes. If you've ever dealt with deploying complex applications, you know the pain. Managing servers, updating software, ensuring uptime. This isn't just about tech, it's about your sanity and your team's productivity. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what Kubernetes is, but more importantly, why it became an absolute necessity, changing the game for application deployment forever. The monolithic dream. Simple until it wasn't. Back in the day, the monolithic application was king. You built one big app, put on one server, and life was good. Deployment was literally copying files over. Honestly, I genuinely miss the simplicity of those days sometimes, even with all their obvious flaws. The problem? As a user base grew, that single server would buckle. To scale, you had to clone the entire application onto more servers. This led to massive resource waste and slow deployment cycles. Talk about a bottleneck. Virtual machines, the heavyweight solution. To combat the monolith's rigid scaling, we embraced virtual machines. VMs gave us crucial isolation, letting different apps run side by side without stomping on each other. It felt like a superpower at the time, honestly. We thought we had it all figured out. But VMs were heavy. Each VM needed its own operating system, eating up gigabytes of RAM and precious CPU cycles just to run the OS itself. Booting them up took minutes, sometimes longer. It was a massive resource overhead, definitely a frustrating trade-off. Containers, packaging perfection, orchestration problem. Plot twist. Containers arrived. Docker, specifically, exploded onto the scene around 2013 and changed everything. Suddenly, you could package your application and all its dependencies into a lightweight, portable unit. This was a game changer for consistency across environments. I remember the first time I used Docker. It felt like pure magic. Real talk. While Docker solved packaging, it introduced a new, gnarly problem, orchestration. If you had 5 containers, no big deal. But what about hundreds or thousands, spread across dozens of servers? How do you deploy them, scale them, make sure they talk to each other, and restart them when they crash? This became a dev ops nightmare, an absolute headache for many teams. Google's secret weapon, Borg, the proto-Kubernetes. Turns out, Google had faced this exact problem years before Docker even existed. They were running billions of containers a week internally, way back in the early 2000s. Their solution? A system called Borg. Borg was Google's internal cluster management system, a true marvel of distributed computing. Borg handled everything: scheduling, resource management, auto-healing, networking, scaling, the works. It allowed Google to achieve incredible efficiency and reliability for its services, like Gmail and YouTube. It's hard to overstate how critical this internal system was for Google's growth. Wow, right? They were solving these problems long before anyone else even knew they existed. We've seen the chaos. Now, here's where we dive into the genius solution that changed everything. Get ready for the real story of how Google's secret weapon became a global standard. Kubernetes. Borg goes open source. Recognizing that the entire industry was struggling with container orchestration, Google made a monumental decision in 2014. They open-sourced the principles and best practices of Borg, creating Kubernetes. It wasn't a direct clone, but a reimagining built for the open-source world. This was a massive gift to the developer community, honestly. Kubernetes, often affectionately called Kubernetes, gave us a declarative way to manage our containerized applications. Instead of telling the system how to do things, you tell it what you want, and Kubernetes figures out the rest. This paradigm shift was huge. It abstracts away so much of the underlying infrastructure complexity. Some devs swear by it, others find the learning curve steep. Here's my take. The initial pain is worth the long-term gain. The core problems Kubernetes solves. So, what exactly does Kubernetes give us? First, automated deployment and scaling. You define how many copies of your app you want, and Kubernetes makes it happen, even scaling up or down based on demand. No more frantic late-night SSH sessions to spin up new instances. This alone is a game changer. Next, self-healing. If a container crashes, Kubernetes detects it and automatically restarts it or replaces it. This is huge for reliability. It also handles load balancing and service discovery, meaning your apps can find each other without you hard-coding IPs. Quick side note, this self-healing capability is probably the feature I appreciate the most when I'm trying to sleep at night. Make sense? The Kubernetes ecosystem and impact. Kubernetes isn't just a tool, it's an entire ecosystem. It has fostered a massive community and a plethora of complementary tools like Helm for package management, Prometheus for monitoring, and Istio for service mesh capabilities. The growth has been phenomenal, even if the sheer number of tools can feel overwhelming at times. Hot take: Kubernetes has become the de facto operating system for the cloud. It's not just for massive tech companies anymore. Even small startups are leveraging it for robust, scalable infrastructure. It democratized the kind of infrastructure Google used to keep secret. This is a huge win for developers everywhere. The modern DevOps landscape, life after Kubernetes. With Kubernetes, DevOps teams can focus on writing code and defining desired states, rather than wrestling with servers and scripts. This shift has unlocked unprecedented velocity for development teams, allowing them to iterate faster and deploy more reliably. It truly empowers developers to be more productive. I genuinely think it's one of the biggest leaps in infrastructure since the cloud itself. Ultimately, the story of Kubernetes is about solving a fundamental problem: how to manage complex applications at scale in a dynamic, cloud-native world. It was a problem that forced its existence, born out of necessity at Google. and then democratized for all. It truly transformed the way we build and deploy software today. Now you know the real story. Let's recap. We started with the simple but unscalable monolith, then tackled the heavy, resource-intensive world of virtual machines, discovered how containers solve packaging, but created an orchestration nightmare, unveiled Google's internal solution, Borg, the true ancestor of Kubernetes, and finally explored how Kubernetes democratized this power for the entire industry. The key takeaways: Kubernetes is a direct answer to the complex problems of managing containerized applications at scale. It provides automated deployment, scaling, self-healing, and service discovery, drastically improving reliability and developer productivity. Understanding its origins helps appreciate its design and why it became the industry standard for cloud-native applications. If this helped you understand the critical role Kubernetes plays in modern development, consider supporting the channel. Every bit helps keep these videos free for everyone. Drop a comment with your thoughts on the biggest challenge Kubernetes solved for you.